Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you exactly how you can take your site from loading in about 5 seconds to about 2.4 seconds. This will be a complete guide on how to actually optimize the speed of your website and every single thing you need to do to get these results. It's going to be a long video, but if you stick around, you're going to know exactly how you can optimize your site speed to get super speedy load times. And then you can also sell these services to your clients or on marketplaces, whatever. That being said, let's get right into the video. So the first bit of theory you need to know is that a site speed is a ranking factor, either directly or indirectly, and I'll cover that in just a bit, but having a quick site does in fact help with rankings. And most of the sites on the internet are not fast. They're not optimized to load under 3 seconds. So if you have a site that's ranking in about 1 second, under 3 seconds basically, you have a huge competitive advantage over all of your competitors. And just so you understand how important it is to have a speedy site is, say you're ranking number 1, okay? And people click on your site and it takes about 10 seconds to load. What's going to happen is people that clicked on your site because it was number 1 will just go back and click on the second result because yours is taking too long to load. And if people do this over and over again, the CTR, the click-through rate on your website will be lower than the one in second result. And in time, the one in second will overtake your site in the ranking. So that's just a quick note on how important it is to have a speedy site, because even though you can rank number 1, even though you're number 1, if your site is slow, people will start clicking on the second and third results and your site will eventually drop down the rankings. But like I said, the first thing you need to know is that speed is a ranking factor, which is a factor that contributes to your site's increase in rankings. Think of it as a signal you're giving Google, and as many good signals you can give Google, the higher they'll rank you. These signals you send to Google can be a range of things. It can be links, the content on your site, the site speed, if it's optimized for mobile, if you have a social media platforms or a presence, whatever. There's a bunch of signals and speed is just another one. And the idea is that all of these signals will add up, and if you end up doing them all properly, you'll eventually rank with ease. Now, a tool we can use to do some speed analysis is GTmetrix, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so we're here in the tool, GTmetrix. I just put in this website, and let's see how will this tool analyze our site and what it will tell us and how we can then improve it. There we go. So as you can see right off the bat, this is not looking very good. This has a bunch of information and I'll go over each one of these. So first one is the page speed score. It's an F and the YSlow score is a C, which is not good. The fully loaded time for this page is 5 seconds, which is too much time. Like I said, if someone clicks on your site and it takes too long to load, the person will go back and click on the second result. And if people do that over and over again, the click-through rate for their site will be higher than yours, and in turn yours will lower down its position in the ranking. So it makes for a very important thing to have a very speedy site. Then the total page size is 5.3 megabytes. It's too much, and I'll show you exactly how to lower that. And the requests, 81 requests, so meaning if a person accesses your site, it's asking for 81 requests, which is too much. And again, I'll show you how to lower that down. Now, all the information we have down here, it's a bunch of stuff, and on this particular website, the 3 things that are not optimized are these 3 first ones: the server scale images, leverage browser caching, and optimized images. And on your site, you might have minified CSS, minified JavaScript, and a bunch of all this stuff on here. And the plugins I'll show you and I'll tell you to install will optimize all of these ones down below. The main ones and the ones that need most work and manual actions are the first 3 ones, which is the server scale images, the browser caching, and the image optimization. These are the ones that will need a bit more work. So what are server scale images? This is basically reducing the image size. So I'll show you here in a bit. So this image right here, which I'm opening right now, is set to 1000 by 1000 and should be 400 by 400. This is the image. As you can see, it's really big. And if you look at on the website, it shows at a much smaller size. So it doesn't make sense to have this big of an image when it's showing this small on our website. So, and that's the recommendation GTmetrix is doing. It's basically saying your image doesn't need to be 1000 by 1000. It should be 470 by 470 because that's the size you're displaying it on your website. And this will account for a reduction of almost 400 kbs. It's not much, but if you do this on a bunch of images, you'll see it all will add up. So what you do is go to your site, go to multimedia, and go to your library, click the image that needs optimization, click edit, and sorry because this is in Portuguese, and just go to edit image. This is straightforward, and already mentioned the image, resize the image, to the recommended size on GTmetrix. Pretty simple. You do this for all the images, click update, and you should be good. Now the image is the recommended size. So again, it doesn't make sense to have big images, in this case 1000 by 1000, when they're displayed at half the size on your website. And the quality, as you can see, didn't lose much quality, so we're good. And sometimes the recommendations can be a bit too much, and you can lose too much quality. So follow the recommendations GTmetrix gives you, but don't follow them to the teeth, because sometimes they can be too much. Now just doing some refresh and analyzing the site again, just to see how this impacted our speed. And as you can see, it did a ton. It went from an F to an E, and the full load time went from 5 to 2.7 seconds, and the total page size decreased as well. As you can see, we're starting to see some improvements, but we're not done yet. This is not good enough. What we do now is do the same for these two images right here. Okay, so the next step is levered browser caching, but I'll skip this one for a second, and I'll tell you why in a second. But it is optimized images. The serve scale images was in regard to reducing the size, so the size of the actual image. In this case, optimized images is reducing the size of the file of the image. And as you can see, we got a bunch of images to optimize. And what you can do is you can download the image from your site and use some sort of software or online software to reduce the file size. You can do all of this manually, but there's a plugin that does this all automatically for you, and I'll be showing you how you can do it in just a second. So as you saw, that's the tool, pretty simple. We'll cover that again in just a bit. Now, the first step in increasing your site speed is removing unnecessary plugins. Only use essential plugins. The more plugins you have, the more space they'll take, the bigger the files on your site will be, the slower your site. Pretty simple. So if we just go here to my website, go to plugins, as you can see, every single one of these plugins is in use right now. Some of them need updates, but every single one of them is being used right now. All of them are activated and all of them are useful for me. So if you have a deactivated plugin, which you can just click deactivate to deactivate the plugin. If you have something that's deactivated and not in use, make sure you delete it. And this may seem like a small step or something really small to do, but all these steps will add up, and in the end, all these little steps will make a big difference. So make sure you deactivate all plugins you're not using. Sorry, not deactivate, delete. So deactivated plugins are the ones you should delete. Then, second step is you need to remove unnecessary themes. Most people I see have a bunch of themes installed on their site and they don't even know they have them. So install only one theme, because it's only possible to have one theme at a time. So there's no point in having more than one theme installed. And what most people do is that when they make changes to their site and change theme for whatever reason, they forget to delete the old one, and this again will clutter your site with files that are unnecessary. So as you can see here, I only have one theme installed. I already did some optimizations here, but there's only one installed. And I see a lot of people that have several ones installed and only one active, because of course you can only have one theme active at the same time. So yeah, go here and double check if you have more than one theme installed. If you do have it, remove them and just leave the one you're currently using, and that's it. Third is images, is image optimization. This is a big one. This is a big factor for slow loading speeds on your website. And there's three things you need to do. The first one is go to GTmetrix. The second one is resize your images, which on GTmetrix is the serve scale images. And the third one is to convert your images from PNGs to JPEGs. But of course, there's plugins that do all of this automatically for you. Of course, there are free and paid versions of those plugins. The free versions only optimize some of the images. Of course, the paid versions will optimize all the images. So what I recommend doing is use the plugin and then also do it manually through GTmetrix to see which images are still missing optimization. And I'll be swapping between slides and actually doing this, so yeah, all of this will be explained. But yeah, the plugin is called Smushit, and like I said, I'll be going over all of this because I'll be swapping between slides and actually the site where I'll be actually doing this. So yeah. However, there's a feature in Smushit called lazy load, which basically doesn't make a complete load of the images that are below the fold on your website. And what does this mean? What does it mean to be above and below the fold? The fold is what shows up when you start scrolling on a site. So lazy load does the full loading of the images above the fold and partial loading of the images below the fold. So if you enter a website and it's still loading down the fold, you will see pixelated images and not fully loaded images. This will make your site faster, yeah, because it doesn't have to load all of the images, but it can be a bad thing as well. It can be good because we're not loading all of the images at the same time. Like I said, the site gets faster because of that. It can be bad because if someone enters on your site and starts to scroll down and will see images with a bad resolution or not fully loaded, you can have a bad impression. But this is an optional option. Yeah, it's an option, but you can choose based on what you think works best for your site. But like I said, it has good things and bad things. So to install this plugin, just go to plugins, and sorry, this is in Portuguese, but if you know WordPress, you know how to handle this. Just search for Smushit or Smushit, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's totally free. You can install it. It's this one right here with the blue lady. Then the setup is pretty straightforward. You just click here, scroll to the settings. You can skip the onboarding. It's not really necessary. But this is just checking the images. And remember, this is the free version, not the paid one. But because the paid one does some extra stuff, but you cannot do all of this manually. So everything that this plugin does, you can do manually. This is just to help you optimize and streamline things. On these options, just set this to on all of them. So the first one is image size. You want to set it to all. The second one is automatic compression. You want to set it to on as well. The third one is metadata. You want to set that to on if you're using images from Google. So if you're right-clicking and saving an image and then uploading it to your site, it will come with a bunch of metadata and EXIF data that you don't want to, that you want to remove before uploading. So you want to do that. Because you can then add that metadata later on. You just don't want to have all the garbage metadata that came from the image. Then the last one was resizing image based on size. And as you can see here on GTmetrix, it's only picking up for the serve scale images an image that is 1000 by 1000, which is within this range. But I think I have an image on the homepage which is way bigger than that one that's not showing on GTmetrix. So I'm just going to make sure that that image is in fact within these maximum minimum heights and widths. That's what I'm doing right now. Just going to go here to the images. I think it's this one actually. Go to edit. It's this one right here on the home page. And if I scroll down to edit image, I can see that it is in fact 2400 by 980, which is within the resizing interval. Okay, then you update the settings and you're practically done. All the other settings are for premium users, which basically either optimize the images further or optimize more images depending on the plugin. So you have plugins that the free version optimizes up to 10 images, and you have plugins that the free version optimizes up to X megabytes. And like I said, all this can be done manually. You're just using a plugin because it makes things easier. And then the images that the plugin does not optimize, you can do them manually yourself. So let's just wait for that to clear, for that to finish, and let's see what happens next for our GTmetrix score. Let's look. Right now we have an E and a C, and our page speed was about 2 seconds. Let's see after this finishes what happens. Okay, so I'm just now going to test this again. I'm going to run another GTmetrix report. And as you can see, we went from an E to a D, and from 2.7, I think, to 2 seconds, which is an improvement. We started with an F, now we're on a D. We started with 81 requests, now we have 50. So as you can see, we're slowly and gradually improving the speed of our site by optimizing, in this case, the images. And like I said, all of this can be done manually or through a plugin, but I want to show you manually how we're going to optimize this image right here that GTmetrix suggests we reduce by 97%, which is a lot, but sometimes, like I told you before, the recommendation that GTmetrix asks for is too much. and that's what I'm going to test out right now. So they recommend I scale it down to 225. And what you want to do in these cases is you want to always go, or not always, as a rule of thumb, go for twice or 2x what the recommendation is. So they're recommending 225, I'll do 550. Okay, so that's more of like a rule of thumb, so your images don't get all blurred and pixelated. So let's retest, and as you can see, we went from a D to a C. Pretty simple with just a quick optimization. You'll be surprised on the amount of sites that can be easily improved just like this. And that's all for now in regards to serve scaled images. Now for image optimization, our plugin, the free version, did something, but it's not enough. As you can see here, GTmetrix recommends we optimize these two images. And what we do here is, for example, this image right here is a PNG. And what I did was convert it to a JPEG, like I suggested previously. And to do this, just go to, just write on Google PNG to JPEG. There's a lot of free tools that do it. And what you do is take your image and upload it as a PNG. That's what I did. I'm just analyzing the site again, so you can see now we are, as you can see, that score is up, and that image doesn't show there anymore. Actually, the optimized images shows down here, so all the images are optimized, and the only one missing is this one right here, okay, which is only a 7% reduction, 2.9, and this is already at an A level, so I don't think there's more things we can do. So 2 Cs, 1.71 megabytes, and now we're missing the leverage browser caching, which we'll be talking about right now. Then we have something called a CDN, and this is totally free. Cloudflare is a company that provides a content delivery network, which is a CDN, totally free. This is basically a network that's spread out all over the world, and uses caching, which is basically short-term memory, to increase the speed of your site. And how does it do this? Basically, the network has our site in its memory, in its cache. And when someone tries to access your site, instead of Google fetching the information from the hosting company, so the hosting company where your site is hosted at, which may be far away from the location the person is searching from, the network, which has our site in its memory, fetches the content and delivers it faster to the user, because the CDN is worldwide. Therefore, your site will load faster. Basically, the person that's searching doesn't have to ask your hosting server to deliver the content. Because like I said, if it's far away from that person, it will take some time. And using a CDN is the person will ask for the content to the CDN, which is worldwide. It has several access points. And in turn, your content, your website will load much faster. Okay, so what you do here is you go to cloudflare.com, you sign up, it's totally free. You'll have this, you just add your site, which I already added right here. Then you just click it, add your site name. This is just me like doing an example. Choose the free version, confirm plan, totally free again. Just as a quick scan of your DNS records. Confirm that, click continue. And now you have, in this case, I am hosted at GoDaddy, I think, or actually Namecheap. I don't know why it's saying GoDaddy, but yeah. And what you do is this finds your current name servers and then gives you 2 new ones. And what you do is go to your hosting platform, in this case Namecheap, go to manage, and go to a place where you can change your name servers, add something custom, which in this case I already did, but you just copy these DNS codes and these name servers, and paste them there. Pretty simple. Again, sign up with an account, click continue, copy the name servers it gives you, and paste them on your hosting. And there you have it. Now you have a CDN. That's simple. Also, Cloudflare also gives you a free SSL. I think I have a video on that. If I don't, I'll upload it. But Cloudflare gives you a free SSL certificate, which is that padlock, that green padlock on the top left-hand corner. But yeah, now that your CDN is set up, again, super simple, we're going to talk about caching. Now, in regards to caching, which is, like I said, the memory. Having caching on is good because that way when someone goes to your site, it loads faster. And I'll tell you a good example of caching. If I ask you, for example, how much is 3 times 5, you know right away it's 15. You don't have to think about it in your head and do the math. You've done it so many times in your life that you simply remember the result. So you don't have to make a mental effort to know how much is 3 times 5. And caching is basically this, is when a person accesses a site, the server that's loading the site already knows what the site is, meaning you don't have to think about what the layout of the site is like, so how the text and the images are arranged, and you just load everything individually. You simply remember what the site looks like and you load it almost instantly. So just like the result of 3 times 5 is always the same, 15, the cached version of your site is always the same, which makes us ask the question, what if we change something on our site? The caching is not permanent. That is, we can tell the server in how many days we want it to create a new cached version of our site. There are options to tell how many days we want the server to cache our site. So if, for example, say we change the phone number on the homepage of our site, if we have the option for the server to cache every 10 days, it's only in 10 days that the people who accessed our site will see the new phone number. So it's good to have a cached version of your site when it's finished and you don't intend to make big changes. And of course, there are plugins for this, which I'll be covering in a second. So in regards to caching, like I said, a plugin does this. I like the one called WP Fastest Cache. There's a bunch of them, but this one is the one I like because it's straightforward and it works. So you're going to want to enable basically all of these. And like I said, say here, the preload cache, okay? Say the mobile cache, say the new post cache. And like I said, what is cache? Basically, if you have cache activated and say you have a phone number on your homepage, if someone accesses your site, you'll see that number. Say, and you have the cache set for 10 days. Say you change the phone number on your homepage. That same person will only see that change in 10 days when the cache reloads, okay? And these options right here, that's what allows the site to load faster. Like I said, the cache is an image, a snapshot of your site before. And all of these, the ones, say for example, the new post cache, what it does is automatically updates the cache when you create a new post. Basically, you just turn on all of these. If you want to go more technical, just ask the questions either in the group or in the comments, but just enable all of these. And when you hit continue, you'll be prompted with this, which is basically saying you have a Cloudflare integration. And right now I'll help you and I'll guide you on how to get this working. So just open this link. This is all pretty straightforward, but I'll take you along and go to CDN here on the top right. And all of these are like premium things. You can also buy this plugin, but just go to CDN by Cloudflare, and then you go to Cloudflare, your account, you go to settings, you go to API tokens, and you just copy your global API key. And there you have it, copy that and paste it on here, add your email and paste in the API key, hit next, and you are basically done with all things CDN, all things Cloudflare, all things cache. And now you just make a quick purge and let's do a retest. And as you can see, A, B, 2.4 seconds, 36 requests, 1.73 megabytes. And yeah, this is it so far. We have gone from an F score to an A score. That's pretty good if you ask me. And yeah, let's continue on. Then we move on to hosting, and you need to host your site with a quality and reliable hosting company. So go for the big ones. Go for Namecheap, GoDaddy, HostGator, any of those big ones. And there are many companies out there that have very cheap prices, but they end up either stealing your sites or getting hacked, and it's not worth the headache. Then after choosing one of these bigger companies, you can either go for a shared hosting plan or a dedicated hosting plan. Shared hosting basically means that you're sharing the resources of that server with other sites. So basically on a single server, there's many sites hosted, which makes your site a bit slower in comparison with a dedicated server, which is a server that only has your site hosted on it. Basically all the resources are going towards your site, making it faster. That said, dedicated servers are much more expensive. As you can see here, I think these are the pricings for HostGator. So if you're just starting out, at the beginning, it's not 100% necessary. Just go with a shared hosting, and then in the future, you can upgrade it if you feel like it's necessary. Finally, all of this that I taught you today can be outsourced. You don't need to know how to do any of this. You can, of course, outsource it, and I'll leave a link in the description for this, or you can just go to connect.co/speed, and I'll recommend you to the best services I know. But yeah, I just like to teach you the things before you outsource them, because I think it's important for you to know what you're doing and how you're doing it to your client's site or to your own sites before actually outsourcing it. But yeah, that's the guide, a bit long, but this is basically everything you need to do and everything I do to optimize my site's speed. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next. Oh, almost forgot. I'll be choosing in just a second the giveaway winners for last week's video, so stick around and bye-bye. Okay everyone, let's see who won last week's giveaway. Let me just find the post. By the way, if you haven't gotten this .org link, it's a pretty good link to have. It's a do follow link from a .org domain. Pretty powerful as well, so it's totally free. Just go to this site and sign up. You can follow the steps right here, but let's go to the giveaway winner. So I was giving away the Rank and Rent plugin, like I told you. This is pretty simple. You can watch this video as well, where I explain what Rank and Rent actually is and how it can benefit you. Basically, you rank your site, multiple pages on different cities, for example, and then you overlay other company sites on top of yours, and you can rent them out. The business model is great, but yeah, if you want to watch this video, I'll put it in the description, and I'll just show you a little demo. Say we want to overlay, for example, this plumber site. We just go here, hit enter, and the page will update. And if we go here and hit refresh, now we have a complete overlay of a plumber site, and the site works fully, so you can click anywhere, you can go everywhere. Yeah, that's basically it. If you opted in for this giveaway, you know what you're getting. If you don't know, and if you end up winning, just go to this video right here where I explain what Rank and Rent actually is and how it can benefit you. Now let's do the giveaway. So let's go here to the comments and let's count how many comments we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 comments. Now we go to a random number generator, do 1 through 11, hit generate, and number 5, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tommy D, thank you for participating. I'll be messaging you on Facebook if I find you there. If I don't, I'll be messaging you here on YouTube somehow. I'll find a way to find you. But yeah, congratulations. Thank you so much for participating and winning. So let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's you, number 5, 1 through 11. Thank you so much. If you want to win next week's giveaway, make sure to follow the rules on the post. I'll be posting this video you're watching right now here in the Facebook group. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.